Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Wednesday. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for bearing with me. Today's Red Mic message: the form isn't the function. What do I mean by that? Well, I was recently requested to fill out one of those online tests, one of those online form things. You know the kind: multiple choice, adjectives and verbs, and talking about your ideal work environment. If this happens, what are your thoughts on A? And, forced choices, sort of like going to the eye doctor. Does this look better? Does this look better? Well, they're basically the same. That one's a little bit better. Okay, I'll click that one, right? These things promise to explain how I work, how I think, how I show up, but I'm very skeptical. I've done them in the past. I've done similar things too. Myers-Briggs. Not sure what I think about that. There's all sorts of old tests, colors, animals, quadrants, letters, labels. Every few years, it seems like HR and psychologists come up with a new framework to claim we've finally decoded human behavior. But they all have this one thing in common. They try to treat all of this like revelation instead of just referencing. So before I go further, welcome back to Red Mic Messages, leadership and life lessons picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Now, here's why the skepticism comes pretty honestly. I've actually taken this exact same assessment that this company asked me to take at another organization. It was actually a state agency. I took it seriously, answered it honestly, didn't try to game it. Then I asked for the results, and the state agency told me they could not share them, even though, state agencies have the open records law, right? Said they couldn't share them, said that they were proprietary and they didn't have the authority. Okay. So I reached out to the company that created this assessment tool. They said clients can share the results or not. It's their choice. I sent that email verbatim to the state agency and they said, no, it's our lawyers say it's proprietary. Yeah. I've not applied for another job with that entity, because if you're going to be dishonest with people that are honestly trying to get a job with you, I've got no patience for you. Bottom line, if a system is used to evaluate you and you're not allowed to see it, that is not assessment. That's control. Scooter was a psychologist, degrees on the wall, years in the field, and he once told me that most of this stuff is hooey. It's a way for people to exclude rather than include. He said, obviously he didn't mean it for all behavioral science, but a way a lot of these tools get used, stripped of context, turned into labels, and handed to managers as substitutes for judgment. He said, no, if you want to really assess somebody, you've got to see how they act. You have to see how they work. You have to look at their job history. You look at what they built, what they fixed, how they owned things when everything went sideways and pear-shaped. Bottom line is you have to ask, did they deliver? Did they adapt? Did people trust them? Did the work get better because they were there? Because all of those questions, they're going to tell you more than any list of job descriptive adjectives or verbs are ever going to be able to. You want to be a good leader, evaluate outcomes, not psychobabble. Watch how people perform over time, and then listen to how their current and former teammates describe them. And then judge the patterns of action, not just the patterns on a line chart or some wannabe Myers-Briggs assessment. Now, assessments can help conversations. They can offer shared language and they can bring questions to the surface, but they can't replace your judgment. They can't replace your experience, and they should never outrank actual evidence of a job well done. Because if a tool becomes more important than the resume, more trusted than skins on the wall, or even more powerful than an honest conversation, the problem's not the candidate, it's leadership hiding behind their process. So today's takeaway: transparency isn't optional when power is involved. If you're going to measure people, include them. If you're going to label behavior, own those discussions. And if you're going to decide someone's future, base it on what they've actually done, not what some online assessment claims to see. Because people don't leave organizations over assessments. They leave when leadership substitutes paperwork for wisdom. And that's today's Red Mic message. Hope you found it helpful. Hope you can put it into practice in your leadership, your workplace, your own decision making. If it resonated, please like, share, follow along, or leave a review because it helps more than you might know. Now, personal note, um, you know, a lot of these deaths that are showing up in the news, I mean, they all have their edge of tragedy in their own way. This one hit home a little bit, though. Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Gotcha, Buck. Yeah, the show was campy. The show was silly, particularly after the first season, and they tried to reboot it and make it, Buck Rogers, the inner space bounty hunter, and all of that. But part of my youth passed away yesterday. So rest in peace, Gil. That's all. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'll see you again tomorrow. And as always, don't forget, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you.